as I mentioned. So Clippers move Eric Bledsoe, Justice Winslow, Keon Johnson, and a 2025 second rounder via Detroit for Norman Powell and Robert Covington. When I first heard the trade, I was like, "What the?" It didn't make any sense.
Dame. I think Dame got. It's about time for Dame to
get out. It's confirmation for Dame to get out. That's one thing for Portland. Yeah, he's out. He's out. He's going to request that trade without a doubt. They're going to, keep moving into this rebuild thing. I think Keon Johnson, being there is like he's going to be in the rotation. I think they're going to try to stack up on as many young pieces as possible to try to kick this rebuild thing off. It also shows me that they're going to put a little bit more focus on Anthony, Simons' development. I think they're going to do that. They've seen how amazing he's been.
Balling.
He's been hooping. Balling. Yeah. He's been hooping. He's been great, man. A lot of 20-plus point games, a great shot creator. His shot creation is really off the chain, know.
I don't know if you noticed, but I remember when they were playing against the Timberwolves, the Blazers were, and Anthony Edwards' nickname is Ant, right?
Yeah.
They said Anthony Simons' nickname is Ant too, but that doesn't make sense. His name isn't. I don't know if you heard it.
Yeah,
his name is Anthony. Yeah.
I actually thought his name was Anthony at first.
I think that's Penny. That's Penny Hardaway first name too.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude's a hooper, and I think that this shows they're going to stick to his development. And then, like I said, to try to kick this rebuild thing off. It also moves. It gives them a little bit more flexibility. I think it puts them under the luxury tax right now. So it's a cap space thing too. Norman Powell being there also prioritize. Norman Powell being included in this trade also shows me they're prioritizing Simons on the offensive end, because Powell's kind of eating a lot of minutes, eating a lot of touches. Now the ball is going to be in Anthony's hands a lot more. Yeah. For the Clippers, and I love it for the Clippers for a couple of reasons. Let's say Paul George does come back. I think this team realizes they can actually maybe make some noise in the Western Conference. I think they do. They're really good defensively. They've put together some great wins. They've maintained a solid spot in the Western Conference. Bringing in a Powell and a Covington. Powell gives you a dude who can kind of score off the ball, so it gives you another offensive option next to Reggie Jackson or whatever. Robert Covington is a really good 3-and-D guy. He hasn't shot it amazingly, but we know that's what he can do. And once Paul George comes back, you look at that team on paper, along with the Luke Kennards and the Terrence Manns and the Serge Ibaka's, you're like, oh, this team is actually pretty solid. And you look at how good they've been without Paul George being there. Now they have a couple more pieces. They may actually make a really solid run in the Western Conference and could end up in the top 5 in the West when it's all said and done.
I think it's really showing to Tyronn Lue's coaching right now. He's keeping his team afloat.
Yep.
And they don't even have their 2-star players. He probably is the best coach in the league, honestly.
You can make the argument.
If you're doing this type of work, bro, without your 2 all-stars, a perennial all-star, superstar players, and you're still staying afloat in the standings, that's pretty impressive.
The comeback wins, as I said, the defense without they're a top 10 defense without Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
He a master at adjustments, I swear.
He is a master at that. I remember people were literally trying to discredit him in Cleveland. Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, can you blame him though? Because we never really, unless you're a big name coach, we always go pick the superstar players for a reason for winning.
Yeah, that's true.
He definitely,
especially a LeBron.
True.
Yeah, it's the LeBron treatment. If LeBron on the team, they ain't go. But he definitely has something to do with them coming back because of the adjustments.
Because even some adjustments he made when he was with Cleveland, people just got to pay attention to it because he was doing a lot of little stuff. There was a difference between him and David Blatt. You know what I'm saying? Remember that? Remember him? Him?
That fired that boy mid-season and they were winning. Man.
So I think it speaks to how great the Clippers are now, and now they have more role players and more guys who can put the ball through the basket. And also too, I mean, even if it doesn't turn to something this season, imagine now next year when Kawhi comes back, that core of Reggie Jackson, Kawhi, and Paul George still going to be there, plus the Norman Powells and the Robert Covingtons that they choose to bring him back. So they're building a good enough supporting cast for this team once they're back and fully healthy to get right back in the jump and then go make a run. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what they're trying to do. It's funny because a couple months ago we were talking about maybe it's time to blow this Clippers thing up because it's just been so imperfect and nothing's gone their way these last couple of years. But like I said, now you look at them and they're primed to make a solid run this year, and they're definitely primed to make a great run next season when Kawhi is back, given the role players and all those guys they have. I'm not sure who all they're going to bring back, but at least we know they're going to have a really solid base of players around their 2 best guys, when they're back and healthy. So shout out to the Clippers, bro.
I'm hoping they don't make a run. So
yeah.
But
Yeah,
they better
man.
than us. I'm gonna be honest, B. I hope they don't make a run, but if Kawhi comes back, I heard yesterday he's not coming back. I've heard he is and he's not, so I don't know. So
they're gonna wait him out, and he's coming back next year, But even so, like, even if
it'll be good for next year, at least.
Yeah, because now, like I said, this trade was about ensuring that they're gonna have a good, solid base of role players around them. Like, you even think how great their role players are right now. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this. It's depends. Sometimes though they play better with. I'm gonna be honest. Sometimes I see them play better without them than with. I've seen that.
About with Reggie.
Yeah, without
Kawhi being there.
I'm talking about like they play better.
Without Kawhi. I'm saying without Kawhi being there, sometimes they actually look better as a team as far as versus with him.
And we'll see how that pans out, because the ball stopping stuff has been an issue before when it's not moving as well, and when we're kind of going into isolation heavy stuff all the time. We'll see how that pans out, because that is a very, very good point. I
was just gonna say, when you have, I think this is what they have to realize, when you have Kawhi Leonard, when you have two scoring wings on the court, you need a point guard. So I think that flaw shows when Kawhi Leonard is there, because obviously he's not a point guard, so the ball's going to stick. So they need to figure out a way, when Kawhi comes back, they need to figure out a way to get a point guard. So it can work the same way it does without him being on the floor, so the ball doesn't stick.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. People do forget. I do think, because people forget, like, people look at the Clippers and we point at their issues and we say, oh, it's always health. Yeah, but remember, as you said, back in the bubble and all of that, we did talk about them not having that real playmaker. That's why we were skeptical about them bringing in Reggie Jackson at first, because we were like, wait, you're going to bring in another scoring-minded player next to Kawhi Leonard and Paul George? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Reggie, he kind of scared me on that screen the other day. I ain't gonna talk about why.
But he was celebrating after that game. Yeah. Steven from Django. But yeah, man. I think I like what they're doing, and I do like the point about them having to figure out that playmaker situation. That's another thing they're going to really be tasked to do. So we'll keep an eye on that, but that is something to look out for with the Clippers. So like I said, it was really basically a salary dump, for the Blazers, and it was more about, developing their younger guys and sticking to this rebuild type of thing. And then, as I said, for the Clippers, it was about building a good enough base around, the guys they already have to try to make something happen. This season, I do think they can make something happen based off how they play without Paul George. As I said, man, last year they almost got to the damn NBA Finals, and we could be talking about them being an NBA champion. You know what I'm saying? So, they got to the conference finals. They played well. They did play well even when Kawhi was there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's also that to kind of keep an eye on. There was a point where we kind of felt like they figured it out. Then Kawhi gets hurt and all of that. But, so we'll see what happens with him. But it gives me a lot more confidence in the Clippers and their direction. It easily could have went south the offseason when people were saying, okay, it's maybe time to blow up this PG and Kawhi Leonard thing. But they stayed faithful in the course, and they ran it. So, we'll see what happens with them.
You were speaking of comebacks. I just remember they came back from 35 down from your Wizards.
Versus the Wizards, yeah.
You gonna bring that up, man? Really?
I just thought about it, bro. My bad. I'm just saying 35 points. That's a lot to do.
They're the comeback team. I once again applauding Tyronn Lue, because you don't come back without making great adjustments. That really does speak to your coaching. Like, he'll go with a different lineup to start the second half, and then the whole trajectory of the game will change. So
he didn't make Luke Kennard turn back the clock into Duke.
Duke Kennard. He may be in a 3-point contest too.
I think, was he in one before? He might have been in one.
I don't think he may have been in one.